Yeah.
And what made you want to get a co-founder? Because I think it's always interesting. Obviously, I know lots of brand owners and co-founders and people who have done things by themselves. I think everyone always has a different response to this. But were you always thinking I need to go on this journey with someone else, or were you thinking I could do this by myself? What was the thought process?
I think it was just an experience of having been in startups for 5 years.
Okay.
And met lots of founders, met lots of solo founders, met lots of people that had co-founders, one or multiple. And just very, very clear to me right from the start that it's not something you want to do on your own.
Yeah.
You want someone not actually really to share the lows with, it's more to share the highs with.
Interesting.
Because lows you can share with friends, family, etc., but no one will really understand the achievements that you have unless they're in the business with you.
Yeah.
And as much as you can like go to your mum, you're like, oh, we've just won a listing of the pub group. She's like, oh, that's great, well done. However, if you're in it and you know how much that means to the brand, that's a moment that you can celebrate, and you get someone to be like, fuck, did we just do that? Like, let's go have a pint and celebrate. Whereas you might not do that if you're on your own. It's just like an achievement that you've got and you register it yourself, but then you're on to the next thing. And it's helpful to have someone to like be able to tap each other on the shoulder and be like, that's a moment we should celebrate. That was proper.
Yeah.
That, and equally, I also know that to raise investment, it's a lot more difficult to do it as a solo founder, because people that invest in businesses know how much harder it is. And so it's a big reduction in risk to know that there's two people to prop each other up.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to burn out if you're not careful. It's pretty rare that you're both going to burn out at the same time though. So if you've got one that burns out that needs to take, suddenly needs to take 3 or 4 weeks off to go and recover because they haven't got it right, and it's probably a mistake you only make once, or hopefully not more than twice, but you've then got someone else that can keep things running and support each other and help each other through it.
And what made you talk to Julian, really? What was the kind of the thought process there in terms of, why him in some ways? Yeah.
Well, we were mates from uni. We met at Newcastle. I've just always known Julian to be a super hardworking guy, very intelligent, quite creative, had a lot of the skill sets that I was probably less strong in. And he'd been working similar journey to me. He joined a startup called Oddballs as third employee, who they're a testicular cancer charity, and they make boxes and sportswear.
Amazing brand.
Really great brand. And he'd been in their very early days, gone from sort of brand manager through to like head of retail sales, and so taken a really interesting path in life. And it just sort of made sense that he was the right person to approach with it. Yeah.
And do you think that
worked really well.
Your kind of skills complement each other? Do you think you're skilled in different areas that kind of bring that together? Was that also a key thing for you?
Definitely. I think it's an important thing to look for.
Yeah.
I guess we're possibly quite unique in that we're both quite good at all of the areas of a startup. Like, I think it'd be different if you're talking about a tech startup. Yeah. Where you quite often you see that there's two very opposite people. You've got someone that's a tech mastermind and that's their remit, and they don't step outside of that remit, and you've got someone that's a very commercial and that's their remit, and they don't really cross over. It's like, you do your job, I'll do my job, and we'll make big decisions together, but I'll leave you to do what you're doing. Yeah. Whereas Drew and I have our specific skill sets that we're both better at, but also support each other in all areas of the business. So like, Drew's naturally better copywriter and more visually creative, and I'm probably more of an operator and better at finances. But we both make sure that we're involved in each other's business without overstepping the mark. Sometimes you do, naturally. Naturally, yeah. But for example, I've got lots of creative ideas, but Drew's also needs to be very good across the finance, and he can pick up on the operational front because he has that skill set as well. If I'm not available, I've got something else to do. So we've managed to like almost mesh together in some ways, which is nice, and I like it that way because we can both be part of making these decisions together, making these mistakes together, and it's a bit of a shared responsibility. Yeah. And in that partnership, have you both got the equal passion for the product? And I guess we're going to go into it now with Batch, the mission of your brand, because it seems like you've got a real drive and a focus on what you want to create, but is that both coming equally from both of you in that sense? Big time. Yeah. Big time. That's great. We have a very shared vision and direction, and there's that it's not a linear path. There's sort of ebbs and weaves around that. Yeah, no, definitely. That's great. Yeah, so Batched,
What is the mission of Batch? What are you trying to really build and create?
So we are trying to create a business that opposes fast fashion.